Right, guys, somebody had called me like a 800 number, like I was going to answer it. Yeah, let me run and answer it, telemarketer. I thought they weren't allowed to call.
So many telemarketers, and then even when you get off their list, they're still calling you.
That's
I don't know
crazy.
what the fuck's going on.
Last time I'm getting up.
But I get a lot of telemarketers, so
All right, that's it.
so annoying.
I'm good now. I'm back. We're back. We made it.
Hi, Kerry.
We made it.
You made it back to your own living room.
I made it back to my own spot, my own kitchen. We're in the kitchen.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, we're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen, we're cooking it up.
We will be doing fireside chats
Fireside chat, yes.
because I have like one of those really cool electric fireplaces. I'm
That is
super
pretty
excited
cool,
about it. So sorry we had to cut off before, but
Fireside
shit
chats
happens.
with hot cocoa. Shout out to Oracle Owen.
to hot
Yeah.
cacao.
Cacao.
A little different. This is supposed to regenerate stem cells, so we're like pretty excited about it. I've been drinking this for a while now. I feel great.
That reminds me, Dr. G called me, my stem cell guy.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I took any stem cells yet, but I gotta give him a call. Let's see. I know Planet knows we're doing that event at the Piedmont Cannabis Cup.
Paramount. Yeah, it's super exciting to do that November 14th.
November
Long Island
14th.
Cannabis Cup. Let's go.
I'm one of the judges, and I only know one thing, that I'm gonna have to go there and smoke everything. So
I
I'm up
wonder
to
if
the
it's going to be an outside smoking thing or if you're allowed to smoke inside.
I don't know.
I'm very interested to find out.
They
Very
have
excited.
outside space though.
Yes,
I seen it.
they
It was
did.
like kind of close to the water.
Yes.
It's a dope looking spot.
It looks nice.
And then maybe we could do a jujitsu show there.
I would love that.
Yeah, they said they were open to it. So let's see. Maybe we'll bring. I don't know if they want to bring it as Tokachoke. I guess it's like.
I think that would be a good idea, like
Or-
presented by, but we'll see what
I
they
don't know
say.
what they want to do.
Yeah.
We could do it as a weed event. I liked doing it as Valhalla because we had way more competitors.
Absolutely. That's the only thing is that like we
So-
will have more competitors if we do it as Valhalla with a section, with like a weed section.
Yeah, I'd love.
Which I did like the idea of the 21 and over section. I thought that was really cool. It was different than, I mean, most places are at a bar or somewhere where they have drinks, so, they have their area, so to speak, but that was really unique what we did.
I did like having the 21 over section. The lounge out back is like no smoking in the front,
Loved that.
just smoke in the back. So it's like a mullet, the oldest haircut. Business in the front,
Party in the back. Let me tell you, that used to be, it's still, I don't really like doing them. More so now, I like the new school one that they have. The first time I saw it out, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is Saved by the Bell all over the place? What is going on? And I didn't realize that mullet made a heavy comeback. But it's like a
Never left
newer
for some
version. It's more of like a mohawk mullet.
Do you call
It's
this the
not-
modern mullet?
It's definitely modernized, and these young guys have made a cool thing out of it, I guess. I still personally don't love doing them. I just
Sorry.
don't. I'm sorry.
You know what I think
It's
is
like,
funny?
I
I
find
just
it
caught
weird.
this. I'm gonna cut you off, Kerry.
Okay.
This bag says used within 90 days of opening. It's like, okay, you open the bag, you better smoke this. I'm gonna just
So what happens if you don't? That's a
no. I'm gonna make the same weed and be like, smoke within 30 days of opening.
Smoke it
This-
immediately.
Immediately, this will disintegrate like White Castle. Immediately, the White Castle disintegrates so quick.
Is that
It's
it?
oh my god! Like if you get something from White Castle and you don't eat it instantly, it just starts to crumble.
Oh, to
into-
break down.
into
Yeah.
nothingness. Yeah, it's the patty's little.
Which is wild. They say it's a real meat.
It might be.
No, they say it's 100% real beef.
Well, I will say this about White Castle: everything's made when you get there. Like you have to wait a little.
I
bit.
do like that about them.
Yeah.
And then it like
Five
makes me
Guys
wonder,
is
is
like
it not
that,
the
too.
worst one in the world?
White
Why does
Castle
it destroy
broken
your
that.
stomach though? I guess because like,
I mean, your body's. I mean, that shit destroys your stomach.
yeah, I mean, like I like it because like it tastes good. I don't eat it, but like if I do, I know I'm gonna be paying for it for a
call
couple
that-
days.
We call
belly
that
bombers?
negative calories.
Oh.
When you eat it, you lose weight.
Yeah.
I'm like White Castle. I eat that shit when I'm cutting weight.
I was just gonna say that could be a
Yeah.
wake up food.
Weight cut food.
White Castle. Let's
So-
get you not
So
to sponsor
somehow,
us.
Kerry, we have the closest election in history
Yes.
between a former president and someone who didn't make it through the primaries.
Yes, we have an appointed
Here we are.
candidate and a former president, and it's supposedly close.
That stands for democracy. Oh, can I?
I don't
you know
believe
what?
that it's truly close, and that's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's close at all. I mean, I'm sure it's close-ish, but I don't. I mean, we'll see. You never know. I mean, my prediction is a landslide. I think he's going to take the popular vote and the electoral college, and I think they're going to freak out and they're going to say it was election fraud. And they're gonna pull some shit. I actually laughed and I said, "Could you imagine if they do January 6th?" And they're like, "That's it. We're coming for you." But like, could you not see it? Because I could.
They got it November 5th.
Remember the 5th of November, right?
Yeah, that was the one. Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
Was it? So I don't know. I mean, and you know how I feel about January 6th. That I've never seen so many fucking khakis. And fucking blue pants. It was like an FBI uniform.
It was. There was the fence direction.
We're gonna get killed for this. They can't tell you how many feds were there.
No, there's people that talk about where should have been that on.
And what Trump supporter you know wore a mask?
None.
And
That's
they're
the
all
funny
wearing
thing about it.
masks.
Yeah,
Stop
it makes
it.
no sense. And I watched that shit on two different things. I watched it on the TV and I watched it go down on Twitter. And I could tell you there's two totally different scenarios going on. It was like two different narratives, which is really wild. And I said I've never like watched an event like that happen. It was like watching a live movie. Again, I'm not being a conspiracy person. I'm just calling it for what it is. Especially watching it on Twitter, it was like watching a live movie go down from a lot of different vantage points. You know, because you saw like different people filming, right? And that's
you
the
have different things going on.
Yes.
So one, you see people getting let in, and then you see
literally, I'm like, what the fuck?
And then you see
welcome, someone's watching.
welcome.
Oh, they left. They're like, we don't want to listen to you guys.
So it was an accident. So
bye.
So there was one scene where they had like grandma walking through the barriers, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? And then they have others where guys are like breaking the windows, but they were all in masks.
Yeah.
And you could say, oh, well, they're in masks because they were doing shady shit. And it's like,
well,
yeah, I mean,
I guess you could say that, but no. And I mean, that was like the only time in history that you could wear a mask into a bank and shit. It was really wild times.
And you know what's funny? I live in the hood, and now in my neighborhood, no masks allowed.
Oh yeah,
it was getting so
yes,
shady.
and I think Nassau County they stopped allowing masks, so it's really wild.
Wear the mask. Don't wear the mask.
Side.
Wear the mask. Don't wear the mask.
It's like, thanks for clearing that up, guys.
The masks work, but don't wear them.
Don't.
What does it? Do they what?
Don't
it was,
wear them.
You know, it's crazy what we lived through. All the fuckery, and I mean.
Did you ever think we'd live through that? And it's 4 years later almost, or
4
it
years
is?
later, and the world feels. I don't know if it's just me, Kerry, but the world does feel weird.
Oh yeah,
You know, it feels
nothing
really
feels the
weird.
same. I mean, things feel the same, but like it definitely has, everything has a different vibe to
I
it.
feel like I went through a weird time shift.
We did. I feel like everybody did, and it was a collective thing. Because,
Yeah.
you know, we were all forced to stay home for a little bit, right? And then you're like really forced to like see what time actually is. And in a weird way, this year went really fast, and in another weird way, it went kind of slow.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Time's been weird.
Time's been really weird.
Time doesn't exist anyway, so it's weird.
And, no.
Because you could fight. Like,
I don't
fight.
believe it. There's too many different ways to tell time, number one. You could be in two different times. It just, none of it makes sense.
No, but just the way it feels. Just
No,
purely feeling wise. So, like, when you're in a fight.
Oh, yes.
It feels
you have
like
it from a different vantage point.
the time is way weird. Like, when you're kicking someone's ass, time's flying.
Yeah.
Bang, bang. And when you're getting your ass kicked, you're like,
It's going really slow.
how slow is this fucking round going,
Yeah.
right? So, so the time's not moving slower, but
No, it's just how you're perceiving it, I guess.
Your
But that
perception
does
of
make it
time.
really fake in a way. And
it makes it fake in a
Yeah.
way because it's like, wow, the intensity of this situation was way more than like 10 years of.
what if all the clocks are off? What if like they're off a couple seconds or minutes, and we don't know what time it really is.
Well, it's
We
only
don't
based
know.
on being on our planet.
Yeah,
So if you're on
basically.
a different planet,
Their
time's
time
gonna
is
move
different. Yeah.
So the Earth moves around the sun, or whatever the fuck they say it moves at. Although, the Vikings have an Earth-centric system,
Okay.
but you know they could be wrong. But they did know that the world was circular.
Mm.
So because they go to America, they have a good idea of navigating the Earth.
Okay.
And then Jormungandr encircles the Earth. But they have the sun and moon rotating around the Earth. Which
Okay.
a lot of people do. But now we think it's still a theory. I mean, I haven't seen it, but that the Earth is flying through space at 66,000 miles an hour. And all
I don't know. Do you feel like you're flying through anything? I like really. I
You
know
know
that's
what?
such a silly thing to say.
I'm gonna tell
Because like,
you.
would you feel it? No. Like you wouldn't know.
Because it's like being on a roller
I'm
coaster.
just being silly, guys.
It's like being on a roller coaster. When you're on a roller coaster and it goes through like the upside down,
Yeah.
you actually stop feeling it.
Yeah.
It like you
Yes.
stop feeling it. So centrifugal force, when something's spinning, makes you feel like you're just going along for the ride. Because remember,
we're in it.
Yeah, we're in it. It's not like, it's like your car.
We're not watching it. We're
Think about it.
Yeah, I get
How fast could you run? Let's say you ran full sprint, 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour. Okay. The fastest runner on earth.
We should clock each other, see how fast we can run. Just for shits and
Oh,
giggles.
with like a ball throw
Yeah,
thing?
something.
So the fastest runner on earth, Usain Bolt, he can run 27 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
Okay, so think about that. That's the fastest guy on earth. And then let's look at like a cheetah. Can run like 70 miles an hour.
That's insane.
And then think about your car. You'll be doing 70 on the southern state and not even realize it.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because you're not doing
it.
70. Yeah. If you were running 70 miles an hour,
would know.
you'd be like, oh fuck, everything's going crazy. So you don't
The
realize.
world would just be zipping by you. I'd be trying to hold on to stuff. Yeah, I can't run that fast.
Yeah, just think
too
about
much.
Just think about like riding
It's
a
too
bike.
much. Yeah.
So, and that's not even that fast. So you're going as fast as the object you're in. So being on the earth moving quick, you don't notice it. You're like, oh, I'm attached. It's like jujitsu. When you attach yourself to someone or they attach themselves to you, it's easy to move them.
Absolutely. I love jujitsu, guys. This guy, he's great. The best coach. If you ever want to get a private lesson and learn some shit, you know, some good shit that'll change your life. And I know it's so silly. Everybody says it that does jujitsu, and it is like really does. It's
It
great.
really does. I mean,
That's
it
forever.
helped me. It helped me put a lot of my energy into something that wasn't bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's something like jujitsu is like self-perfection.
Yeah.
In some part.
And you're getting better if you're putting the work, and you should be getting it better consistently.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to
incrementally, consistently.
You have to be focused,
Yes.
pretty much, and you do it. Although I do fuck around.
I was gonna say, like, it's a weird focus for me because, you know, like even when I'm rolling, like.
If I'm going hard though, I do have to focus.
Well, like, yeah, I'm sure that's a whole different ballgame than like, you know, just like doing a light roll. But yeah, you do. You want to be in the zone. You want to know at the very. It's like you were saying. It's like thinking 3 moves ahead. You know. In a pool match, you want to at least have an idea what you're gonna do. You know, okay, well, if this doesn't work, what's that gonna do? You know.
I like the social aspect of jiu-jitsu.
Love that.
I love
That's
shooting the shit.
probably one of my favorite parts of it. You know, that I
Shooting the
miss.
shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, from having the group, yeah.
Yeah.
That is what is nice about group dynamics. There is something to it when everyone's like putting their energy into something.
Like the same thing. You know, yeah.
That's what was cool about. I mean, while the gym was a lot of work, what's cool about having it is then you have a built-in community.
Absolutely.
So let's say you have, 200 people at your gym.
Yeah.
I'd say probably a third of those people buy into most of your shit.
Yeah.
So it's like 60 people.
Yeah.
So every time you do an event,
They're coming.
they're coming.
Yeah.
Every time.
I was gonna say if it's probably more than half, I'd say.
Yeah, if it's a big event, half or more come
Yeah.
instantly without getting other places. Like when
That's
I used to
incredible.
run a CrossFit event, I would have 100 of my own people there.
That's great.
So it's like, all right, well, I don't really need to go that hard
Yeah.
to sell it out.
Yeah.
Because I just
Which
brought
is
it,
nice.
which is nice. Yeah, without having like a gym, it's different coaching at a place and it being your gym because
Yes.
it's different. You're a different personality, and I'm not the head coach in any gym. Yeah. So, yeah.
Take
So-
note, guys.
Take note.
It's a big
Yeah, yeah, because it's a pain in the ass to run a business, and New York is making it harder and harder.
Oh, yeah, they're not making it any easier. It's not
No,
like they're
they're
like,
making
here,
it-
you know, let's like walk you through this and, you know.
Let's take off some regulations.
Yeah,
make
let's
it
like
easy.
take some tape down and make it, you know.
Yo,
no.
not to-
Like, let's add some more tape,
not
some
to
more
put-
regulations.
Not to put our sponsor's business out there, but I don't think it's private knowledge. I mean, they had to postpone their grand opening because the city,
Oh, yeah,
the
it's
state of
incredible.
New York's a pain in the
It's
ass with
incredible.
what they require.
It's incredible. However, you know, kudos to them that they stuck it
They
out
stuck it out.
and they're really doing great. Planet Nug.
Yeah, I like the, I went into a spot in Brooklyn, I'm not gonna say what it was, it was a small dispensary, and I was like, I had to, because I live in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and I was out of Herb, and I was like, fuck, alright, I looked up, I was like, alright, they got a few reviews, but yeah, the customer service is there, I love them when I go into Planet Nug, they have a bud tender, he takes my order,
Yep.
and even though they know I'm the king of cannabis, they treat me like a king anyway, but they would do that even if I wasn't the king. I mean, they wouldn't let me.
Oh no, they have
promos.
great customer service.
Good,
They
great
really
customer
do.
service.
No, they really do. And you know what? They actually might like you kind of promote that. I've seen their Instagram and their stories and stuff, and they put up stuff that people share and what they do in there, which is nice. You know, at least they're like I said, customer service driven.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm happy that that everything now, like, you could do it, but I'm not happy about how much, like, regulation goes into it.
Yeah.
Because it does suck. I mean, I know that there's a pro and con to that, and this gets into politics a lot, like
Absolutely.
regulation. So my opinion has always been,
Is it overregulating? Is there
that
that?
see, I have an extreme opinion that almost all regulation is banned for small business,
Okay.
and you have to be careful with the regulation that you should have. So what should you regulate, right? Don't kill nobody. All right, but we have to be careful how far we take that.
Yes.
And who's paying for it. Because think about it. Oh, that's what I saw that was crazy. So RFK,
Yes.
he wants to take the fluoride out of drinking water.
Yes.
There's a lot.
I love that.
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yep.
Because
First thing I said.
fluoride is shown to cause a lot of
Terrible things.
terrible things. A lot of neurocognitive degeneration.
Inflammatory issues I heard.
Well,
Like
fluoride.
arthritis.
So fluoride is the most reactive element.
Yes, we've spoken about
So
that.
because it's the most reactive element, anything that's going on is going to react with it. And that could be what's fucking you up. Not that fluoride's dangerous, but it's dangerous because, well, it is dangerous, but the reason it's dangerous is because it reacts with everything.
Yep. Okay.
So everything's like, oh
Makes
no.
sense.
Like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Oh no.
And he wants to take fluoride out of the water. And what's
Love
the
it.
news say? So I'm listening to 1010 Wins. And 1010 Wins is like, RFK says that if Trump gets elected, he'll take fluoride out of the water. A practice commonly believed to be very beneficial. I'm like, well, by
Not
who?
so much. Just depends who you're listening to. Are you listening to the American Dental Association? Sure, then it could be.
You know what's funny?
Do you want me to go?
Sure.
Excuse me one second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back.
So, you know how I feel about the American Dental Association? I feel like if 4 out of 5 dentists recommend something, I want to go to the one that doesn't. I want to see what that guy's doing. Is he like some crazy herbalist? Is he out there shaking rattles? I hear it. So yeah, is he like some crazy radical out there?
So funny.
But yeah, so I feel like all regulation kind of hurts small businesses, so you have to have some type of...
Like we're not, yeah, overregulation is not good.
No, you don't want overregulation. And I like underregulation
Okay.
because I believe in freedom, but even myself, there has to be some type of regulation. I wish that we lived in a society that just the market regulated you. So like, let's say you suck,
Yeah.
people just don't go to you.
Okay.
Like-
I mean, isn't that what reviews are for? Something I guess people.
So
like
then
go
you
and
have to
shit,
open
their
source
friends writing
reviews,
and
you have to,
stuff, yeah.
and then you'd have to have someone evaluating that who you trust, and how can
Yeah.
you know if the person, it's like the disinformation, misinformation shit. How can you tell me that this is misinformation
Absolutely.
if you haven't evaluated it? Did you look into it? Did you do 10 years of research on this?
Yeah.
Like, I just think about when we went through COVID, like, oh, disinformation. It's like,
It's like
bro, you said everything that we said was misinformation.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, you were like, oh, you know what? This is true.
we might have been wrong. Like, yeah, you were wrong about a lot.
But imagine we lived in a society that was a little more totalitarian.
Mm.
We'd all have got arrested.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
we would be in a fucking free education camp together.
I mean, I hate to. I don't want to talk about Peanut, but look what they did to
I-
Peanut. Peanut the squirrel.
Okay, so
And
there's what I was
Freddie
gonna say with like government overreach and shit. You know, that is the worst
And-
kind. You go into somebody's house, like there's the amount of illegal shit going on in New York State, nonetheless
My
New York
neighborhood.
City, is
Yeah.
absurd for them to go after somebody's animal. They could say, oh, well, he didn't have the right paperwork. He was literally almost done with all of his paperwork. He was waiting for, I think, 1 or 2 more things to go through, and they were signed and already in the process. So for them to do that is pretty absurd, in my personal opinion.
And if the government's supposed to serve the people, if this guy has a tame pet squirrel,
Yeah.
why not just give him the paperwork and help him do
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Why are you trying to fuck him over? But
Yeah.
if someone, did you see that video of it was a couple
They
months
love
ago.
to kill little things.
Yeah, but no, did you see the video a couple months ago of these like teenagers beating the shit out of some cops? They got into a fight in the subway. I think I sent it to you. Those kids get a slap on the wrist.
Of course.
This fucking guy, he had a pet squirrel, big fucking deal. And
He had an animal sanctuary too. It's not even like it was just about, you know what I mean? He had a lot
and
going
the pet
on there.
raccoon. And the squirrels can be friendly. I'm like, dude, that's what you had to put 8 troops on?
Yeah.
Look when they shut our event down. You had to send 3 state police?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, that was the important.
You didn't send 3 state police to arrest Diddy.
No.
A guy who's ass raping people and on tape,
Children,
beating the shit out of his wife.
Drugging people.
But what he's on tape for that we all saw, the whole world saw him smack his wife.
Yes, but there is a tape that's about to come out.
Yeah,
it was a flash drive that's there are. Do we want to talk about it? Yeah, might as well. So there's a flash drive that I can't remember the guy's name that I can't remember his name that just came out and was saying he has a flash drive, and I think it was from Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, and there are 8 celebrities on it, men, women, and I think they said 2 or 3 children.
I'm saying
Drake, people that are minors.
Like Drake, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
But the crazy part is he said the 8 people that he's talking about, the 8 celebrities, were not the perpetrators. So they were victimized. So I'm wondering,
That's what I wonder about Justin Bieber.
There were minors, and then there were, I'm assuming probably a mix from like, who knows. I don't really know. But it's going to be really interesting to find out.
Bieber. What about
Taylor Swift? She was seen with him a lot. And did you see the video of somebody made a compilation video of Diddy with Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy?
Who's the actor I like? Who won't date girls over 25?
I don't know. Oh, Leo.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. He's that. Pretty much, it's gonna sound. No, it's not gonna sound like anything. Anybody endorsing Kamala, you can pretty much count as that they were on Diddy's list.
But Leo, no. But I think Leo was getting fucked as a kid too. Remember, he was on Growing Pains.
Yeah, but you know what?
He was 13 years old. I think he also.
I think that there has to be some kind of.
And then they kind of put them in the club, so they fuck you, and then they make you fuck someone else.
So,
and then
is there some kind of level of not compassion, but maybe leniency that they give to people that were predated on as children that had no chance? Like, are those people given some kind of leniency? Because like there should be something, there is something to be said for that. That if you were tortured, and God knows what happened to these people when they were young. Because you're right about Growing Pains and stuff. Leo was really young. Who knows what happened to these kids? And a lot of them it might be easy for them to turn into that as an adult. But do we give them leniency?
Now you're giving a slippery slope here. All right, if my parents were murderers,
am I going to become a murderer? Absolutely
not.
And it's not okay for you to become a child toucher either. There's nothing okay with it. However, it should at least be noted. At the very least, just be noted and put out there that they were themselves.
Well, you said up until the Democratic Party turned crazy, you used to be.
Oh, I was a lifelong Democrat. I voted Democrat my entire life, and now I'm wearing the You Missed shirt because.
Well, it's funny because
they lost me. They lost me when they went bananas, and it's. I think it was after Obama that I was like, you know what, I'm fucking done. They've done nothing for me my entire life. I feel like I've been fed a lie, and I was fed the lie that the Republicans would take away your rights, and the Republicans would take away. If you're disabled, your government services, and they would take away your women's rights. And, I didn't realize that, we were, when I was young, talking about that, we're killing babies out here. It's not like you're talking about women's rights to vote and stuff like that. They're literally just talking about abortions, which should be legal, should have provisions around it, should maybe, I like J.D. Vance's stance on it. There's other things to talk about before that. And, give people different options. Yeah, make it list. Planned Parenthood. Can we Planned Parents? Can when someone comes in there, can you say, let's find the man, or can you bring him in here, the boy, whatever? We're gonna teach him how to be a husband, a father.
What about asking your family? Does your family want to be involved?
No, but do you know how many people that would have created into being productive members of society and better? You know what I mean? Because at best we have a lot of those walking around.
Think about the help you give for not just immigrants. Also businesses that fail. So you have one segment of money being wasted on the low end, priming the pump, we call that.
Okay.
So that's when you give money to Medicaid, immigrants, Social Security, welfare, all that shit falls into priming the pump. You give money to the poor to help stimulate their economy.
Okay.
And there's a lot of money wasted that way.
Yes.
You give money to immigrants who
when you're giving it to people that don't deserve it, and there are.
You give money to people sometimes that collect multiple checks.
Absolutely.
There are so
many.
So there's a lot of fuckery. Okay.
People
and then the top end, Kerry. So then the top end, is when you give $500 million to a solar company that goes bankrupt and pays all their guys.
Yeah.
They didn't spend that money in the community.
Yeah.
They just fucking took it and bought an island. So there's fuckery at both levels, and that's why I want the minimal government.
I like that. Someone else said that. I gotta look at who will put it on their Twitter that they want, the least amount of government
And yeah, as
involvement in their life.
As far as abortion, yeah, I like. I mean,
But someone in the MMA.
I don't think it should be a states issue either. I know Trump is like just making a states issue because he's Republican.
I do like a lot of things being
But-
turned over to the states though, because of
Yeah, I
how
like a
you
lot
live.
of things being turned over to the states, but
Yeah.
I think that they need to set a standard for abortion. You
Big
have
time.
to say
I love your theory on your idea on this.
the same time you say that the pregnant mom, you charge them with double homicide.
Yeah.
Whatever that time is, that's the same as abortion.
So if somebody gets in a car accident, right?
And you're pregnant. Let's say
And I say the woman dies and the baby dies.
they charge that guy with a double murder.
Yes.
Right, the mother and the unborn child.
Yes.
So
So,
then you
and
have
what
to-
age is that at? Like I get what you're saying, and that's a state issue, I'm sure.
And then let the state determine that. Yeah, you can let the state determine that. You can say abortion's protected and types of contraception. But before that, why not say, hey, do you want to have a family? Have you thought about adoption?
Yeah.
There's people that
That-
can't have kids
yes.
that are older,
Yes.
that want a child that can't have one. Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Or you could say, hey, you have young grandparents. Do they
Oh,
want to
so
help
many.
out? Do they want
And
to
I
help out?
guarantee you a lot of them would have said,
You know what, I help out, I
Yeah.
really, I know the situation wasn't the one you wanted, and I'm not saying for medical reasons, I'm not.
Totally different.
I'm not in the
Totally
medical
different.
field. Whatever medical reason you need to have any type of procedure, if that's what you wanna do, that's up to you.
honestly, if you need it like a DNC for medical reasons,
Even if
it
they're
shouldn't
9 months.
there should be
Like,
no
if the
question,
ba-
it should be covered under insurance.
Yeah, that should be no question, that I would
Yeah.
100% agree with, like, if you need,
If the baby's in some kind of danger, if the mother's in danger, if there are problems that you're not going to be able to deal
100%,
with, and there
yeah.
are people that can't deal with certain things, and there's something to be said for if you can't handle it, you don't want your kid to go into the system because you can't. You know what I mean? There's so many little things that end up happening that is like just horrible.
they almost encourage it, I looked at the numbers, it's like, almost 700,000 abortions, and let's say half of them were medical, which they're not. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Well, that's 350,000 people,
that's a lot. That's a lot.
depending on the age. And like I said, I'm all for it for up to a certain point, and that's up to the states to decide where's that point.
Yes.
And also, then you shouldn't be able to regulate things like Plan B. That's a next day thing.
Yeah.
Why don't regulate that? That's you can take your Plan B.
You should be able to take that over the counter. I know other people are going to get mad about that, but you know what? It is
You
what
should
it
be able
is.
to take that over the counter.
Listen, if you want people to be responsible, mature individuals, and as a society as a whole, educating them and stuff like that is a good idea. And why not give people the option that if
'Cause
you're
I'd
not
rather
ready for
they
that,
do
make
that.
the adult decision. Go and get that the next day. Don't wait till it's 2-3 weeks later. Because but then you get people that perpetually use it, and I know women that perpetually use
we have a
it
joke, Kerry.
as like a
don't
birth
make,
control, and I'm
don't-
like, you can't do that either.
Don't make Plan B your Plan A.
Yeah, that's not good either, because that's got to do something to your body. A chemical
It has
abortion
to, yeah.
has to do something to your body, but it has to be an easy access and option for women to be able to, and men that if they're like, listen, I'm on board, but let's go get this,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be a fucking $100 thing to buy either. All this shit,
Medication's so cheap.
all
So cheap to me. I know you're paying for
the
the research
amount of money
involved.
that they charge for this shit, and that's why women, young women in particular, end up going the other route, which is honestly
I have a
usually more
theory.
expensive anyway, especially if it's elective. It's crazy. That shit's not cheap.
I have a theory that the reason abortion is such a hot topic
Yeah.
and so popular is because the economy is so fucked up. So
Possibly.
the more fucked up the economy
Possibly.
is, the more likely you are to forego having children,
Absolutely.
either forever or till a later date.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of people that are like, well, I work, or for whatever reason, I'm too busy to have a kid,
Yes.
and then they're in their 30s to have a kid later, or they never have a kid.
Yes. And there's a lot of those
And
too.
a lot of that is because you have to work because the economy's so shitty.
Yeah.
In the 50s and 60s, women were like starting to work, but it was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have a kid now.
Yeah.
And you have a lot more population.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd have to say that. But a country can't sustain itself without a population.
No.
There's no right. So not wanting.
And they're trying the population control route,
And
which
that's
is
why
crazy.
these Islamic countries now are on the rise because they're pro-family.
Yes. Yes.
So everything you do is pro-family. What do they
Yes.
say? Yo, get 4 wives. If
Yep.
you can support them now, if you have 4 wives and they're young, and now you start having kids, well, you're gonna have 10 kids.
Yeah.
And then those 10 kids now
They're
there's
gonna
more
have
population,
yeah.
and they can have jobs,
Yeah.
and they can be productive.
Yeah.
And they all
Because I don't think the world's overpopulated whatsoever.
I
It's
think
densely
certain
populated.
areas are populated.
But densely. I think,
Densely.
yeah,
And
so
then
like
other
China,
places have-
small part, there's
Small
parts
part
of China.
the city. So
And then there's so many other parts that are huge that they
Huge
could
with
be
nothing.
crazy.
nothing.
Crazy.
America too.
Yeah, oh yeah. The inner like
Where have you drove to in America? The furthest you've driven to?
Florida.
Okay, so Florida. So you know when you go through Virginia,
Yeah. Oh,
How much-
lots of land.
nothing
Lots
is
of
there.
land. Yeah.
So many cows.
Yeah.
It is like
And you don't want to. You
move
don't
over.
want to also like. You don't want to destroy all of that because they've done a good job at destroying
Yeah.
stuff. But maybe like other areas would be able to build their forest back and stuff if
Not
it was
everything.
spread out. I don't
Not
know.
everything has to be an eyesore.
No,
You
exactly.
You could spread everything out.
Yeah.
You could have a couple acres of land and still
Yeah.
have a bigger population.
Absolutely.
You could even have like little small communities.
Like over here, this is a nice area where I live. I happen to like where I live a lot.
Because
It's-
there's a little community, but everyone has like a half acre.
Or yeah, 3/4. Yeah, yeah.
So they have a little space, so it is nice.
And when you look at it from like say like the other side of the beach, and you look at like the
Kerry, do you think Suffolk County will secede from New York? Suffolk, the Long Island and Staten Island, they'll just be
would
the
I love
islands.
to see it? Absolutely, I would love to see
Well, you
Staten
should-
Island, Long Island. I forget where else is red.
Upstate.
They'd have to somehow make them a part of it.
I think they should just make New York City its own district.
420%.
So I've always been for New York City should run like Washington D.C.
I was thinking that, yeah,
It should be its own city. Give them their own votes.
yes,
Give them votes
Like their
in
own-
the Senate.
yes,
they
I
get
was
their
gonna
own
say their
Senate
own,
voters.
whatever
They're
it is,
essentially
yeah.
their own state.
yes,
So it would essentially become the 51st state is New York City, and New York
state would be the rest of us.
will be the rest of us. And
Which
New
I
York
like.
City would
Oh,
separate.
would you be considered New York City?
May I be
Brooklyn,
New
yeah,
York City?
yeah.
I'm in the state of New York City. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I was telling Owen, someone has to be in the belly of the beast.
Of course. Yep,
Someone has to be inside
Yeah.
Ragnarok. And,
that's true.
And Odin told me if he wanted me to move, he'd make me.
Yeah.
And he hasn't made me yet. So here I am.
Here
Although I
I
am in Long Island a lot. So nothing wrong with that. I appreciate the ability to get around.
And it's really nice out here. Long Island's great. There's so many people out here. There's so much to do. I mean, there's so much to
Oh,
explore.
that's what I was gonna say. So when I was driving Owen out to Patchogue today,
Yeah.
I guess he hadn't been home in a few years.
Yeah.
And all these places that he knew closed. And I
Oh.
was like, yo, business is rough out here. I was like, COVID sucks.
They built Patchogue up though. It's
No,
getting
Patchogue
really
town is nice, yeah. But
It's
he was
really
there's
good.
like other places on the way.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
not the actual town.
Yep.
Hi Sage. Alright, Sage says she's in the mix.
She is. Sage has made an appearance in
Hi Sage.
so many in the Girls Corner episodes. It's
Sage is in the animal zone.
She is. She's like, I'm chilling, guys. What's
Alright.
going on?
Your cat she just can't stay away. She's like, I wanna be on TV.
She does. Oh, you know what? So let's we didn't talk about this yet. The amount of people in the fight community that have
Trump.
endorsed
Well,
Trump is incredible and exciting. And you know what? It shows where people's heads are at, and that these a lot of them are just regular
Well,
people.
Trump goes to the fights. He is a
Yes, he
fight
does.
fan, and he
But
always
no, like if you look on
supported the
Twitter,
UFC.
so many of them are endorsing it. It's insane.
And he's always supported the UFC.
Always.
So I
I
remember.
wrote a big article on it.
Yeah, I remember in 2001 when he did the first one in Atlantic City.
Yes.
Matt Sarah fought on that.
You were there,
and we all
right?
went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a cool card. And that I just bought it, and they were trying to do things a little different. Great fights on that card. I think Randy Couture page on his own might have been the headline. Wild fight. So those were all great old school fights, and that was UFC 31, I think. Then we went to Vegas for UFC, and every fight went the distance. It was so boring. It went over. Wait, it went over the time slot. They lost so much money. They were UFC was ready to go bankrupt so many times.
I'm sure.
But the Fertitta brothers just kept backing it.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's someone looking to back anything animal like that,
Valhalla,
and I don't
Token
want to
Show.
lose that much money.
Because we are down to like, roll the Token
I
Show.
want to
That's like
if someone wants to sponsor Token Choke,
Yeah.
we are rolling with Token Choke.
Yeah, if anybody.
If someone wants to sponsor Valhalla, we are rolling
down
with
to roll
Valhalla.
with that. Yeah.
We're here, so I'm gonna raise a cheer to whoever will not jeer at us running an event that is far and away, clearly. I was gonna say it clear. Fuck that right off.
You're so great.
Oh well, I tried, guys.
John
I
had the
lost
dopest promo the other day at Planet Dog. Super excited. I
Coming
cannot
soon.
wait for the 14.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Really, really so.
You know what's funny? When I was a kid, I used to read High Times magazine, and they used to have the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I was always like, oh, I want to fly to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And be a judge in the Cannabis Cup.
And
you
now
know
look,
what? The universe was like,
you drive to Long Island instead.
The universe was like, Manimal, you don't like to fly that much. Why don't we just bring the Cannabis Cup to you? Oh, I got it. It's a dream come true. Odin has brought the Cannabis Cup to you, and I want to make sure that you all come through November 14th. You know what you got to do. Go to Eventbrite and get a ticket for not just you, even though you can only buy one.
Yeah, at a time.
One ticket per person, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm lying. Don't fact check
That
me.
was
I
on
can tell
point.
you right
That
now.
was on point.
Don't fact check me. I'll just tell you. You can only buy one ticket. One per person.
Yes.
Okay, so get
Yes.
your ticket.
At right now, like they,
Yeah.
I think I don't
And
know if
they're
they
free.
ever
Free
had.
tickets.
Yeah,
Free
which is
tickets.
great.
Which is great. Yeah, come on down. It's gonna be fun. It's 4 to 10. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a nice
you don't
quite
have
a
to
few
spend the whole
hours, which
time.
is nice. Or you stay if you want, don't stay if you want. I want to see what's like the whole, what else they have going on.
I
there.
almost
I'm
wanted to
excited.
get a new suit, but decided to keep it easy.
Might as well.
You
Keep
might
it
as well.
easy.
Yeah, I'll keep it easy. I think you might as well get a new suit.
No.
All right, now Sage wants to show her ass. All right, Kerry. Sage wants your attention. You want to exit the animal zone?
We could exit the animal zone, but I really quick want to talk about the fighters that endorse Trump.
Oh, a lot
As
of
like,
fighters endorse
yes,
Trump.
so many. First off, we're gonna go with
I
fight
haven't
community
heard-
and fighters.
I haven't heard any fighters endorse Kamala.
No, me neither. Let's go. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Vitor Belfort.
Even you forgot
Kamaru
Donald-
Usman.
Even you forgot Donald Trump's redheaded
Oh
stepchild.
yeah, Kobe Covington.
He's so Donald Trump's redheaded
There
stepkid.
was so many today. It was insane. And then Joe
Kerry.
Rogan just endorsed him.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but
Uh-huh.
Colby Covington is like the kid that you have that's kind of like a fuck up, but he like really tries
Like the
hard,
first pancake?
and you're like, you're okay,
The
kid.
first pancake.
The first pancake. He's like, you're okay, kid. He's like,
Bro.
Dad, I just want you to love me like you love Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, Henry Cejudo.
Henry Cejudo.
Yep, Jorge Masvidal.
He loves
they
Henry
all-
Cejudo.
Yep.
He's like, look at this
Ali
guy.
Abdelaziz, so many of them. It was
He's a
pretty
great
cool.
Mexican fighter.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, they're regular people, and you know what? People are having a
I
tough
couldn't
time.
even tell you what he does.
And some of these kids have kids, and they don't want their kids being in, they don't want their daughters being, look at it, being in the locker room with a boy. And there's not, I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying that out loud. Like,
I have
I'm
an easy
voting no on Proposition 1 in New York because I do not want
I forget
my
what
niece
I
being in
voted.
the fucking bathroom with a boy. I'm sorry.
I forget what I voted. Fuck. So, I have an easy solution to all that.
Give them their own bathroom and locker room.
No, just everyone has a private stall.
Yeah, but you
What's
still
the
can't.
big deal?
No, you can't have boys and girls in the same room, even with private stalls. You can't.
No, you just give a private stall. Like, all right, I have the gym. Well, you see how
Yeah.
Siege's is?
Yeah.
That's it. You just have private bathrooms with a shower in it.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
go
like you go in the
Siege's.
bathroom and that's it. There's
That's it,
no
you build
there's
10
no
of
locker room. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
it.
I
Shut
like
the
that.
fuck up. I don't
Yep.
even want to talk about it. It's
That way
a
it doesn't have to have a
stupid-
sign on it.
Shut
Just
up.
go in there.
This is a
Yeah, I like that.
Bathroom.
Yep.
That's it.
I
Is
like
it a
that.
men's room? No.
No,
It's a
it's a
fucking
bathroom.
There's a sink, a toilet,
Yes.
and a shower.
Yes.
10 of them.
Yes.
If you're in a locker room, if you're in a place that doesn't need a shower, then they're just the toilet and a sink in
Yes.
each, like the family bathroom.
Yes.
For
I like
all-
that actually a
Yo,
lot.
for all the money they spend on stupid shit, yo, billions of dollars to not fix my belt parkway. I always go back to that because it irks the fuck out of me.
So from
So
what
they
I
could
remember,
just
it's
get
always
a
been
private-
under construction. Since
Always
I
been-
used to go into
40
when I was
years.
younger. Yeah.
40 years. Always, since I've been born. So with all the money they spend, end this conversation. It's annoying. It wastes energy. Just have a private stall. It's an easy fix.
Yeah,
We don't have to
simple.
talk about it. It's so
Yep.
stupid.
No, I agree with
I
that.
think the private stall is better anyway.
I'd rather
personally,
go into a private stall.
Where I have
Absolutely.
my own sink. If I
Yes.
take a shit, I can feel comfortable. I have, if it's a locker room, my own shower. Like I love Siege's shower locker room.
Yes.
That first one.
Yes.
Because it has a shower, has a toilet, a little sink, a little bench. That's all I need.
Yes.
And you can build 10 of those if you have like a locker room. Oh, you're killing me, Sage.
10 of those if you had a locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry. Men's, women's, I don't give a fuck. Go in the stall.
Yeah.
There you go. You're done.
Yeah.
We don't have a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of just getting a problem.
Well, yeah.
So
Why would
here's
you
the
want to
thing.
create
Even
a
you being
problem
like-
or even perpetuate a problem?
I don't want men to come in the women's locker room.
No. No.
Well, I don't want. No, I'm not saying that.
Oh.
What I'm saying is this is one argument. I
Yes.
don't want men in the women's locker room. The
Yeah.
other argument is like, well, if they identify as a woman, they should be able to. And my argument is shut the fuck up. Just put a stall. I don't even want to hear you argue.
Yeah. Then there's
It's
no
just
argument to be had.
That's it. That's the argument.
Yeah.
Like solve the problem.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
problem? Women in the men's room. Some people like it.
Because
Some
they're
people don't.
perpetuating
So
problems.
what do we do?
They'd rather have that
Well, we
happen.
already have an issue with privacy anyway.
Yes.
So why not just make them stalls?
That's
Because
not a
there's
bad
also
idea.
an issue with what about a man going into the men's room
With a little
and
boy.
raping a boy?
Yeah, there's
That
something.
happens too.
There's
So
something
just
to
give
be
them a
said for
stall.
that.
So Kerry, you could be a man who rapes a boy.
Yeah.
That's a man. It's not about trans.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a privacy
No, it's a-
issue.
it's
So
a-
here's
yeah.
the thing: we turn a lot of problems in our society into an issue that makes you divisive. But what's the real issue? Privacy.
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's an issue that, like I said, the boy and the, you know how many in New York, go look up coaches raping boys. And where do you think they're raping them? The locker room,
room.
the shower,
Yep.
because he's allowed in there.
Yep.
Dead the whole thing, because I think there is a right to privacy.
Yeah. I
that
agree
we
with that.
totally stepped over.
Yep.
The
A
right to
long time ago.
privacy is one of the biggest things. And the Patriot Act after 9/11 changes the world because it kind of ends your right to privacy.
Yes.
It's like you don't have privacy. The government can spy on
Yes.
you whenever they want. And our
Yes.
country used to be based on privacy.
Yes.
What I do in my own home,
It's
my own
my business.
thoughts,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, you can't do that.
We're gonna read your mind next.
They wish. That's what I don't trust about Elon Musk.
True.
I like Elon Musk because
Yes.
he's like innovative, but
Yes.
I don't like Elon
He's
Musk because
question
he's
mark.
innovative.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
trust
like
him.
Tony Stark on crack.
Yeah, meth.
Yeah.
Tony Stark on meth is Elon Musk. Well, you know who I think Elon Musk really is?
Who?
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, I think Steve Jobs
think-
was like, there's some things I want to do in space that I can't.
So I'm gonna.
So I'm gonna come back as Elon Musk
Yeah.
because you've never seen the two of them together. And Elon Musk has that kind of weird stomach.
Yeah.
So Steve Jobs is skinny, he could be in there. He's gonna one day pull down the
Skin
zipper
suit, the
and
zipper.
be like, I'm Steve Jobs.
Guys, I was joking around.
Surprise,
I made it.
motherfuckers, I
I'm
made it. I'm back. Thanks, Elon suit.
Thanks, skin suit.
Oh no, you know what Elon might be?
What, an alien?
Venom.
Oh.
So you know how Venom
Yep.
is a suit.
Yep.
He's a symbiote. So Steve Jobs died, and there's an alien symbiote. That's Elon Musk, and that's
And his other part.
why he looks weird still. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Like underneath the suit,
And he's got a strange look to
Steve
him.
Jobs.
Yeah.
It's like who's the Brock? Eddie Brock is. What is it? Eddie Brock is Venom.
Steve Jobs.
Underneath the suit, Steve Jobs, and then Elon Musk will separate from him, and he'll be like that symbiote.
Yes.
And maybe he'll go into Kamala Harris. God no. Yeah, it's just funny to me
Get that
that you
woman
could
out of
have
here.
someone. No, you know what's the problem? That I don't like the way they did RFK. Give the guy the chance
Yes.
to be on the ballot.
Yes.
And
Give him
then
a fucking
and
opportunity.
did you see what they were doing too now? California fought to not put him on the ballot. Once he withdrew, now they put him on
Yes.
to cause confusion.
Yes.
And 3% of people voted for him in some places, which means that you're fucking up the vote.
Of course, they do that on purpose.
And this isn't this election fraud? Like,
Of course
it's
it
not
is.
right.
It's at the
The
very
whole thing-
least, it's election
The
interference.
whole thing that election interference. Yeah.
Just my opinion.
It's interference. And even the way they did RFK from the beginning, while maybe not illegal, is definitely unsavory.
Without a
They
question.
wouldn't let him take the primary. He's a lifelong Democrat. He's a lifelong. His
Because they're
whole
terrified of him.
and I don't agree with all his shit either.
No, I don't either.
He has some crazy environmental.
I was gonna say his environmental policies scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, because like I told you, any kind of regulation like that stops you from doing things.
Yeah.
And there's no point in over-regulating America when China has zero.
Yeah,
Because then
exactly.
all you're gonna do is go build your product in China.
Well, yeah, because why would you can't build it here?
Why would I want
Go
to
build
make it
it
here?
somewhere else.
I'll go make it in China. That's why
Yeah.
we lost all the American manufacturing. It's because of over-regulation.
Yeah.
Every time I have to pay for regulatory expenses, it's very expensive. Like, okay, let's say a plumbing line. Instead of it being a certain, one way that's 10 grand, now you have to make it this way that costs 100 grand.
Yeah.
And they make you do all this stuff that might not be necessary, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
Or you have to get a parking variance. There's all kinds of stupid shit that
Yeah.
can, jam you up.
Yep.
And you know what I heard that was crazy? These laws aren't consistent. This is going to blow your mind. In New York, they just passed a law that hotels have to have permits.
Really?
And it just made me think, hotels didn't have to have a permit?
Yeah. Why didn't they have to have one before that?
Crazy. Unregulated. All
That's
the
weird.
things New York regulates. They
They don't
killed
regulate a hotel.
Peanut. They killed Peanut. They don't regulate the
Fred.
hotel. And Freddie.
Trust us,
Sorry,
Peanut and Fred.
So they killed some guy's pets, and for not having the right permit. And they've
Yes.
been letting hotels run without a permit for
No
100
sense.
years. This is what I can't deal with.
Oh, that's why a lot. That's why a
I want
lot of them
police
turn out
government.
to be like,
Prostitution
I'm just gonna say
places,
whorehouses
things
and
like
fucking.
that. So the places inside the
there's no
hotel
regulation.
have to have a permit. So let's say
Wow.
I have a restaurant in the hotel,
That has to have a permit, but the hotel itself
doesn't.
can have some
Well, now
shady
it
shit,
does, thank
human
God.
trafficking and whatnot. That's crazy.
And,
That's why so much shit went down.
and let's say I have a bar. Let's say I have a bar. The bar has to have a liquor license.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
the hotel doesn't. The bar leases the space.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. That's what I'm saying about the government. It's like I
Well,
can't.
the government doesn't make any sense.
The government don't make any sense. And all the laws they pass, like other than the big ones, listen, don't kill, don't,
Yeah, we get that.
Other than the big ones, it's like, what the fuck is this law for? Like, why'd you even decide? How do you
That's
not
right.
regulate the hotel? Like, okay, let's say you don't want to regulate anything, fine.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna regulate, like, gyms, you have to have a physical culture permit to have a
Yes.
gym. It's a pain in the balls
Yes.
in New York. I'm only speaking for the boroughs.
I'm sure you have to have a lot out here too. I don't think they just let you open up gyms and like. make
No,
it
I'm
easy.
sure Siege could tell us
Yeah.
it was a pain in the
Yeah.
ass. We'll ask him next
Yes.
time we podcast with him. We'll
Yeah.
be like, yo, how much of a pain in the ass was it? And I know Long Island's easier with certain things,
Yes.
but some things in Long Island
Agreed.
isn't even money, it's just time. It's like 18 months.
Takes fucking forever sometimes.
Sit
And it's
on
like,
it.
all right, well that's not working for
I'm
me.
like, you do it's working? Like,
Yeah.
why does it take so long?
Yeah. No, it's bizarre.
That's what takes a long time to approve permits, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and, can we finish with one thought?
Yes, of course.
Why I hate politics. I hate politics and politicians because it gives power to a group of people that never did shit. So if you're a lifelong politician, let's say you're someone that's been in government for 20, 30 years, well, how could you regulate business when you've never had a business?
Yes.
It's how could you regulate fitness when you've never done it? How can
Yeah.
you regulate health when you're unhealthy?
Yeah.
So we have all these people in power regulating industries that they have,
They have no business.
experience
Yeah.
in. And I think that's one of the worst things about government. All these things should be regulated. You could have one or two guys that aren't in the industry because
But they
it's
should
nice to have an
have people
outside
in the
perspective.
industry. Yes, I agree with that.
But 80%, 90% of who runs an industry should
Yeah.
be industry specialists.
Agreed.
And then 20% could be outsiders that maybe have a different view of things. So let's say we run a chemical company. You might want to bring in, let's say, a marketing guy to
Yeah.
be on your board
Yeah.
because he has a different perspective. Let's say you run a pharmaceutical company. You might want to bring a couple farmers on.
Yeah.
They might know something about
Yes.
that you might not know about the process. Maybe you want to bring in a machinist. Maybe there's something that goes on with machinery that maybe that's adding toxic metals.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm just saying, like, I'm just speculating, and I'm a person that likes to think. In Manimal Kingdom, You're allowed to think.
You are. Yes, we are allowed to think also. in
And
the girls'
disagree
corner.
with me.
Yep, and we're allowed to talk as well, and we are allowed to disagree with
I
no question.
had a conversation with one of my friends the other night, and he's very liberal, and I was like, he hates Trump. He's a never Trumper. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I understand. I was like, but I was like, all the things that Trump's being accused of are the things that they're doing now,
Yeah.
and especially
Which is
with like the
crazy.
character attacks. And it's like, well, and then I bring it back to this: what policies do you like? And I'd rather
None of them
talk about.
can come up with policies. I could give you so many of Trump's because he's been
Oh,
talking about them for
no.
fucking ever. And every time you turn on a
Abortion.
rally or listen to him,
So
talks about
abortion.
rallies.
They'll say abortion, and
Yeah,
they warn
okay,
about
great.
his
You want
policy.
to kill babies, but yeah.
His policy is states' rights.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
They can't. You can't.
His policy is not
Yes.
end abortion. His
They're
policy
worried
is-
that he's going to do something about abortions, and he literally can't at this point. He can't. It's over.
I don't think he
it's-
wants to.
No, and he can't. It's because it's state by state. It's got nothing to do with the president.
Now it has to do with all
Yes.
the governors.
So it's
Now,
like you guys are like
If
they're
you
being
want
so
it-
misinformed. That's misinformation. That
That's
they think that
misinformation.
Trump is going to change where they have no rights to abortion and do a national abortion ban. It's not going to
it's not
happen.
gonna
And I don't
happen
know if
because
he
they
even
already
can.
said that the
They said it
federal
precedence.
government
Yes.
has no control.
So he
over it.
can't. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
So
Guys, that's the problem. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
well, because we have a federal government and we have 50 state governments.
Yes.
And we have what's called a federalist system
Okay.
and a republican form of government. It's not a pure democracy.
Okay.
And this is also
Yeah, no.
what people say that doesn't make any sense to me. Like democracy's at stake. I was
It's like we don't live in a
have
democracy,
republic,
really,
not a
yeah.
democracy.
I mean, if you know the
So
Pledge of Allegiance, it's pretty clearly in there.
Yeah, a republic. That's why
To
they
the
stopped
republic,
doing it.
not to the democracy for which
Yeah.
it's there.
And a republic is oftentimes the best form of government because it spreads out the ability to govern over smaller populations, which is important because you don't want someone in what happens in New York is you have someone like you who lives in Suffolk
Yes.
that's subject to the same laws that people in New York City make.
Yes.
Because New York City has the most people.
Yes.
So when you do that, it takes away authority. So the bigger the central government, the less individual regions have their own authority. And then the bigger the regional powers, or the more spread out, the less central authority. And I think our founding fathers did their best to strike a balance. So I don't know if you know this, Kerry. I'm going to give you a little history lesson, actually. Fuck you.
Animals.
Another matter. Do you know that this is not the original government we had? So after the Revolutionary War, we don't have the United States of America. There's a different government.
Okay.
We actually have our first government is what's called a confederacy,
That's what I thought it was. Okay, because I was going to say, wasn't there the Confederacy?
and that's not the Civil War Confederacy.
I remember stuff.
This is a confederacy of states. And instead of having a central government, they had a very weak, like a strong central government, very weak central government, no president.
Okay.
Actually, they had an executive, and I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think the first executive was African descent,
Oh, wow.
or at least of some. Not George Washington, this is a guy.
No, yeah, because I remember
Who-
reading about like something about presidents.
And
I think
he-
we've talked about that once, and I said there was a president that was the first African or black president,
of
and
America,
it,
though.
no, and it was of the Confederacy because I remember reading
But the
about that.
Confederacy of the United
Yes,
States.
I read a
So,
lot about that.
What a confederacy
Enough
is,
to know what I'm talking
what a
about.
confederacy is, hold on. A confederacy is a coalition of territories, call them states, that agree to mutually assist each other with a very weak central government that kind of acts as an arbitrator. And that government didn't work. Right, they did it for like 4 years, then they have another constitution, and then they wind up with the government we have now, which sets up a balance between, see, a confederacy, the federal government almost has no power.
Yeah.
So the states just do whatever, and it's very spread out. And then they realized that we needed some type of federal government to regulate things like the
Yes.
military. Interstate commerce was a problem.
Okay.
So when you have a bunch of confederacies, it becomes like Europe. If you want to trade with me, I have tariffs on
Yes,
you, I get
yes.
gas from Russia,
Yes.
this other country gets, and it becomes a mess. So they were like, we don't want to be like Europe. And then they have a president,
Yes.
we added an executive branch with executive abilities, two branches of Congress. We have a House of Representatives and the Senate,
Yep.
and then a judicial system. So hopefully, the government actually can't do too much, but in times of crisis, like war, the government should be able to step up. And there's no income tax till 1913. So the government grows every time there's a war. So after the Civil War, the government has a massive growth spurt because now we federalize the South.
Yes.
Right, we do what's called a reconstruction, and that starts to mess it up. And the cost of the Civil War, not just in human life, but in material cost, if you did it today, would be like more than Afghanistan times 10. Right, if you did the inflation value and the lives lost and how much that affects the economy, you know, after the Civil War, America was essentially bankrupt.
Yeah.
And that's why they sold Washington, D.C. And that's the 1876 thing. Guys, go look up. I'll leave you with this to look up. Go look up 1876 Washington, D.C. Incorporation. Kerry, anything you want to leave them with?
No, I'm super excited. Well, yeah, I guess a little bit. I'm super excited, guys. It's election day. Get out and vote. Doesn't matter who you're voting for, although I, would be really disappointed if you voted somebody like, that's besides the fact. But no, go out and vote. I think Trump's going to win. That's my prediction. Landslide, I think also he's going to win the popular vote and the electoral college. Let's go. Pretty fucking excited. Oh, on November 14th. See you guys at the Long Island Cannabis Cup.
See you there. Follow me at Manimal John. Kerry the Stellar one. And follow Planet 9 at Planet 9. And you're not exiting the Manimal.
To get a little thing where like you can click it.